Let's see. Test 1, 2. Can you guys hear me now? Nicole, can you let me know if you can hear me now? 3 minutes until we start our practice. Hi, Terry, Kari. So you guys got a silent meditation. Just so you know, I said some of the most incredible, probably the best things that I've ever said in guiding yoga practice in my entire life. That's what I was talking about. So I guess we'll just have to leave it for the mat tonight and see if I can give it to you in another way. Can somebody let me know if you can hear me now? Sasha, how you doing? Ashley, good. Yes, you missed all the wisdom, Nicole. I was just teasing. I was saying that you know, said some of the most wise and probably in-depth things that have ever come through a practice in that meditation. So, um, give it to you silently. Right? The real practice, anyways, is deep silence. Saya, how you doing? Biz, nice to see you. Well, I'm glad we figured that out before we started the practice. That's nice of you guys to blast me on the live chat. See, the thing is you've got to do this class. I've got the camera, of course, that needs to be charged. I've got two lights that have to be charged. I have, this isn't complaining, by the way, I have two iPads. I have my cell phone. I have a mic receiver. I have two microphones. um, so it's a lot of charging things, and sometimes there's, batteries that run out and whatnot. So um, fortunately, we've only had two times where our camera battery has run out, 15 minutes short of a flow class, both times on a Sunday at the exact same time. And I think we're up over, Ari knows the number, but I think we're over 80 practices at this point in quarantine. And you guys, all of those classes, right? Even go back and take a class when we were doing the live streams with students in the main studio. Go back and take some of those classes. They're fun. But I think on the channel now we have over 125 free classes. Send them anywhere, do them anywhere. We're getting more and more people that are practicing with us from all the nooks and crannies of this beautiful planet. Today I got a message from Argentina. There's Peru, Israel, and this is all because of you guys. This isn't, we're not some, big, massive social media. We're a little mom and pop community yoga studio that somehow find ourselves in this position, and we get to share these practices. So it's pretty cool going through all of you. Hey, Derek. All right, you guys. Well, 84th class, Ari. Thank you. 84th on Cinco de Mayo. All right, I'm going to start the playlist on the Earbuds Music app. So again, on Earbuds, you open it up and you see a little tag that says following. When you click on following, you should be following me, of course, and then you'll see the live playlist pop up here in a matter of seconds. If you're streaming along on Spotify, you'll get that. You have that playlist available. Go ahead and start it now, please. And let's make sure we're all up and running. And you guys got, to me, you guys, I listen back a little bit to the classes in the morning just for the audio quality. And to me, it sounds a bit much on the gain of the mic. It sounds, obviously I'm huffing and puffing and teaching and moving and all that kind of stuff. I just want to make sure that that's not distracting to you. I know people want the volume a little bit higher so that you can hear me clearly, but I don't want to be distracting and kind of pulling at you. I want to have a voice that can come through and support you going deeper inside of your breath. So it's a little balance, I know, with the music and whatnot. So, send me your feedback. Let me know what you're feeling, and we can always make these mindful adjustments, okay? And once you get everything set, let's go ahead and start lying down in Shavasana. And even though it's a detox, I think we should do another 5 minutes of yogi bicycles and to start our practice today. Just kidding. Hey, what killed me this morning when we did that is this time, when we did I think it was a 6 minute and 46 second plank the one day. But when we did that, I had no idea how long that song was. Yeah, I was right there with you. Today, when we did the yogi bicycles, I knew how long that song was. So, totally played and messed with my mind, knowing and being attached to time. So it did a pretty decent job of taking me down. So this will feel good. That practice this morning actually put me on the couch for a good while today. Maybe it did you too. Enjoy your detox tonight, everybody. I'm so happy to be practicing with you. If you need anything to make this position and lying on your back any more comfortable, go ahead and make those adjustments. And as though your mind is a camera, I don't have any idea what you're all looking at and tonight, or what room you're in, or if you're outside or if you're inside, but like your mind is a camera, we're going to blink our eyes 3 times. Again, each time you blink the eyes, it's like snapping a photograph. And at the end of the third one, keep your eyes closed. So open the eyes, and close the eyes, that's 1. Open the eyes and close the eyes, that's 2. And then open the eyes and close the eyes, keep them closed, that's 3 pictures. So remember how I say that in technology isn't all that original. It's basically taking the human and then replicating what we have the ability to do, and then it's doing it for us. So, essentially every time you blink your eyes, most of the time you're doing it subconsciously. You're not aware like you just were. You're actually downloading an image in your brain. You're taking whatever it is that you're looking at, and you're downloading that and storing it in your brain. Now that you're more conscious of doing that, and see how it feels. And see how you settle. See if the environment and that you choose to be in might change a little bit. And let your breath be easy. Let's start with when relieving. Bring your right knee into your chest. And reach up with the hands, interlace the fingers onto your right shin. You feel into the bone structure of your right side. So the bone in your thigh is your femur bone, and the head of your femur bone connects up into your pelvis. And there's a structure in the pelvis called your acetabulum, and for all of us it is uniquely shaped, and so for some it's going to curve over the head of your femur bone more than others. And so a lot of this plays into how you can externally and internally rotate and from the hip. So find where you can feel more space. If you need to take the knee out a little bit wider, and then you might feel it with a greater path of ease or less resistance, and to let the thigh come down towards the belly, towards the chest. If you need to regrip, get your knuckles through knuckles, and so essentially you're not holding on in strength, but your knuckles are locked on your shin. Relax all 10 of your toes, and let's And continue our practice here tonight. Enjoy the stillness. And when I give you silence, and don't worry, I will come back. But enjoy the stillness and the silence. About halfway through on this side, if you want to take a deep breath and soften through a sigh, you're welcome to do that. If you're already pretty chill and your breath is even and smooth and unforced, then and continue to ride those waves of calm and peace with your body and with your mind. And let's say you have a hard time adjusting, your environment or the choices that you make around where you are. You say you don't like the pictures that are being taken when those and snapshots of your eyes are being downloaded to your brain. Hey, think if the next time you were to blink, like we've had the eyes closed here now for many, many minutes. You think if that would be the last image and that you would want to download to your brain. And that might help you or support you and through some of the challenges and what you think are choices but they're really not, and so that you're not in those environments and you're not in those positions where you're not even appreciating those pictures that are being taken. And keep your eyes closed, begin to soften your grip on your shin. And then you can go nice and easy into release your right leg and feel your hip. And your hip flexors expand. And it's like holding them up in a ball. And notice if your right leg feels different than your left leg. And it should. It's like and people when they get married and then what do most people ask? They'll say, well, you guys have been living together for 10 years. Does it feel any different? Well, yeah, it should feel different. You just had a beautiful experience and process and connection and, whatever that means to you. You don't have to believe in the institution of marriage. It could just be a deepening of connection. But it should feel different. Let's go ahead and bring the left knee in towards your chest. Interlace the fingers, reach up onto your left shin. And if you want to know, for example, why does your left hip feel tighter than your right hip, then internally ask that question to yourself. The only way that you're going to draw to a moment of clarity, right, to understand, it's not asking questions to your teachers and to your friends because all you're doing is listening with your ego. You're just finding what your ego wants to hear. If you ask the question to yourself and then you sit, and for moments or days or weeks or months or years until it becomes clear from the inside, that's when it'll have a deeper meaning. And the reminder is unforced, natural breathing, not changing it in any way. And use the breath actually as a grounding tool, especially if you have a wandering mind. A wandering mind is beautiful. And let it go far and wide, and at the same time realize and that you are grounded, that you are here. About halfway through on this side, if you would like to sigh and settle, if you're already chilling and feel good here, stay right where you are. Man, it's trippy when you can feel shit moving inside of you. When you can note and notice freedom from an internal and grounded perspective. An example of an internal question could be, what is freedom? With your eyes closed, and you're welcome to slowly soften your grip. And release your left leg, let it slide all the way back out onto your mat. And with both of your legs straight, and feel from your hips. And then take your hands onto your belly, stack one hand on top of the other hand. Corpse pose. If you don't know your birth story and you have the ability to find it out, and sometime in the next day or two after this practice, if you can find it out if you don't know it, go ahead and gather that information however it may be available to you. Nice and easy, go ahead and bring your eyes back into the space. And the longer you go without blinking, and say the bigger the picture that you're going to download into your brain. And so be aware, be conscious of your blinks, obviously, without stressing about it. And bring your legs together as you keep them straight. And use your elbows and a little bit of your core to bring yourself up to a seat. And once you come up into a seat, we're going to crisscross our arms behind our back. And so whichever wrist you want, okay, behind the other, go ahead and crisscross your wrists. Your palms are going to be down, flat to the mat. And get them as crossed as you can. And then go slow and start to recline yourself back down. Okay, so your wrists are in your low back. Okay, you'll find little nooks and places that you'll have to adjust. Okay, but basically your wrist stack are going to increase the curve in your lower spine. And your elbows can go out wide. And if you need to make any adjustments, please do that. As you come down onto your shoulders, you can always put your stack underneath you, your block or your pillows. But let your shoulders and then your head come all the way down onto the ground. It might feel good to separate your feet again a little bit wider. And feel any monsters that were sitting in your belly. If you feel unsettled in your breath, and take a deeper breath and then sigh to some softness. And begin to rest here. If you're not feeling this, I envy you. If you're like me and it's pretty darn intense, and do the best that you can to settle with the sensations here. Relax the jaw, relax the face, and surrender. Surrender yourself to the process. This pose mimicking the process of our life and our perspective on life. You can surrender here, you can surrender in some of the more difficult and challenging moments and that we will face in our lives. About one more minute, please. All right, go slow as you bring your legs back together. And flex your ankles. As you start to lift your head, it's going to feel heavy, so use your belly. And draw your belly in. And then press through your hands. You make your way up to a seat. And then as you unravel your arms, let's go ahead and turn around to sit on our shins. And head above the heart, please. And feel everything going on through your hands and your wrists and your arms and your shoulders and your chest as you get to your seated shape on your shins. Let your head rest above your heart. And take a snapshot and consciously close the eyes. And sit with this feeling right now. Nice, you guys take your right hand with your eyes closed and put the peace fingers right out in front of you. And take your first two peace fingers on your right hand and turn them and bring them to your forehead. And the ring finger of your right hand is going to settle just on the outside of your nose on the left side. You feel it like you're elevating through the top of your skull. And then slowly release your fingers from your forehead. And then bring your right hand back down onto your thigh. Soften your chin. And then you can once again allow your eyes to open. If you have a yoga block, grab it. If you're using a pillow or blanket, fold it up and so it's fairly firm. The firmer, the better. And then either take your yoga block on top of your thighs, okay, or the folded pillow or blanket, as firm as you can get it. Tuck it up into your belly, into the creases of your hips. It's a light lift into your heart. And so you want the edge of the block underneath your ribs, okay, into your belly, and then start to come forward. Okay, all good. If you're using pillow, and you just got to fold it up a couple times, same with the blanket. And get it tucked back into your hip creases. And then you're going to start to release the torso over the object. And let your shoulder release inward and towards the center line of your body. And depending on how far you fold, you can always slide your arms back by your shins. And to give you the space, because it's really difficult to talk when you have a yoga block that is being shoved into your stomach. So enjoy the space, everyone. And 10 more breaths here, please. And if you can, keep your eyes closed. And throughout the rest of this pose, through the transition into what's being guided next, keep the eyes closed. With your eyes closed, if you're willing to play, And start to roll yourself back up off of the object. You set whatever was in between your belly and your thighs off to your right side. And feel the growth. You notice what color light you see right now. And go ahead and let out a big sigh. And utilize the elevation of your awareness internal as you release external by keeping your eyes closed, and feel your way forward onto your hands. Feel your way forward into a tabletop. You don't worry if you end up being a little crooked, it's all good. And feel into your hands flat. And without enforcing too much strength, we're going to feel what this detox flow has created thus far. And step your right foot back, tuck the toes. And step your left foot back, tuck the toes, and come into a plank pose. And keep the breath calm. And just let some of this flow roll throughout your entire body. Nice. You can open your eyes softly. Don't worry, we're not holding plank for 5 minutes. Come down onto your right knee. And come down onto your left knee. And like we did lying down, but now with the feet, cross your right ankle over the back of your left ankle. And spread your knees a little bit wider than your hips. And you walk your hands back towards your knees, and then you're going to sit. Okay, bum onto your crossed ankles. As you get used to this sensation, there's going to be a track and access into your heart, so don't be surprised if heart stuff comes up. Start with your hands on the mat. And if you're not really feeling it, you just bring more of your torso on top of your hips, so hands can crawl onto your thighs and head above your heart. But you can start here, and we can always find the opportunity to progress as your body gets used to the shape. And here's the deal. Pain is relative to the being. And pain is on the same spectrum called sensation as everything else that we can feel. And your definition of pain is different than somebody else's, so you never want to be sitting in pain. You feel where you're uncomfortable, but you can still let your mind rest. Use the grounded mindfulness of observing the breath and the air coming into your body, the air going out of your body. It's the continuation of your meditation. And if you're going any further, like hands on thighs, and shoulders over hips, and the bow to your chin in your chest, you can close your eyes and feel your heart. loosen what you can as you observe it in tightness, and send a breath with loving kindness and awareness to soften. One more minute. For a breath, go ahead and open your eyes. Let's take an inhale here. And stick out your tongue, lion's breath. Exhale out of your mouth. And then bring your tongue back inside of your mouth. Lean forward. And then place your hands onto the mat. Lift your hips. Uncross your right ankle from your left ankle. And let's keep the hips where they are to feel this release come down onto your forearms. And you can let your tailbone lift, let your belly drop. It might feel nice to turn your head back and forth, side to side a couple times. Great, more space and back to center. Let's cross the left ankle over the right ankle. And start to walk your hands in towards your knees. Let your hips find the groove. And start with your hands on the mat. You got plenty of time. Always have. And silly to stress about time. And you're welcome to take your hands to your thighs, shoulders over your hips if you're not there yet. And let your chin bow to your chest. About 1 more minute on this side, please. And let your gaze come out in front of you. And take a deep breath in. And stick out your tongue, lion's breath. And bring your tongue back inside of your mouth. And you nice and slowly bring your hands back out in front. And feel this release as your hips come off of your feet and your ankles. You can uncross them. And observe these sensations come down onto your elbows, please. And let your tailbone lift and your belly drop. And start to make your way back up onto your hands. And crawl your knees forward behind your wrists. Separate your knees so they're as wide as your mat. And big toes are touching, and then sit back in between your heels. And you can take your stack, your yoga block, or your pillows, or your blankets, and put them all behind you. Unless you know in Supta Virasana, or what's called reclining hero, if you know that you can come all the way down onto your shoulders, then you wouldn't need your stack. But okay, your stack is going to allow you to sit in this a detox style, and versus only being here for about 8 to 10 breaths, and we're going to triple, if not quadruple that. So be humble, start where you are. Feel the heaviness of your hips in between your heels. And feel your knees. If you have bum knees, it can help to put some towels behind your knees before you come into the seated part of the position. The ankles are open, the shins are open, the back is open, the hips are spaced, and so you can come back onto your hands or down onto your elbows, onto your stack, or eventually all the way down onto the ground. And just make sure when you recline that you're not over and compressing or just sitting with too much tightness in your low back. And you can feel it, but there should also be plenty of space when you're lying down, and getting some sensation on the top of your thighs. And you can find a nice position for your arms by your sides, and wherever you may be tonight. Our practice will find us in wherever we are. And you may just find your truth, or some clarity around the adjustments if you aren't pleased with the snapshots that you're downloading into your mind, if your environment isn't something that supports you into your greatest. And allow yourself to see that here tonight. And last minute in this shape. And use some of your strength in your belly as you reach for your ankles or your shins. And the head will feel heavy. Use your elbows. And squeeze your shins into the ground, hips to your heels. And slowly start to make your way all the way back up. And feel your rise as your head comes above your heart. You can adjust your knees in a little bit closer towards each other. Reposition your seat. And let's take a short beat here. Hands on your thighs, head above your heart. And open mouth, exhale to a sigh, shoulders away from your ears. After this practice, your voice might sound different. And As you feel your way back, lower your chin, open your eyes, rock off to your left hip. And so we can let go of the flexion of the knees. Stretch your legs out in front of you, please. You notice we're not jumping around, we're moving and feeling the sensations drag throughout our bodies. And once your legs are straight, go ahead and lie all the way down onto your back. And if you want to tuck a little something behind your knees, and let your big toes fall out. And feel your low back and your middle spine and your shoulders, and then eventually in the back of your head come down onto the ground. And yes, it still may be you getting down onto the ground. It can take that long. It can take even longer. And there's absolutely no rush. And when you get there, and go ahead and release every part of your body. And let's face the reality, everybody. The practice is the greatest metaphor of life. And it can be anything and it can be everything. I mean, it's with you even when you think that it's not with you. Once you have a practice, you always have a practice, and the way that you define your practice could change. In moments, in weeks, in months, in years, it can spin around in circles. It can be this, and then it can be that. But your practice is always with you. And I'll leave you with this little bit. And when I said it's silly to ever stress about time, it's never too late and to start a practice, and to allow this practice and to be a part of your moving meditation, whatever that looks like for you. This is just one example. This is just one way that we can relate and connect and accept ourselves and each other, in this world, in this beautiful world, these beautiful minds that we have. So thank you. And if you're dropping into some of this deep theta, the lowering of your brain waves, stay with your meditation. Lie here for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And so the expansion is right here. You're open, you're ready. And so if you feel it, stay with it. If you don't feel it yet, stay with it. When you are ready to come out, do so nice and gently. Into the rest of this evening. And I hope to see you all tomorrow morning for our flow practice. Have a beautiful night, everybody. Namaste.